Welcome back, everybody, here to our studio here in Berlin, bringing you out a match live with TobiWan and
the Capitalist.
That's right. Finally arrived here in Berlin, and like it's like, okay, you arrived in like actually, technically you arrived in today at like 1 a.m. in the morning, and now he's here casting tonight. Welcome to the slave driving camp of Join Dota.
Right, it's been like a 13-hour day and only a couple hours of sleep. It's no problem. What is jet lag?
I told you I have a Mass Effect beanbag down there you can crash on.
Just curl up in a ball.
No, that's actually a really good idea, man. Like it's
help me. They're making me sleep in the studio.
There's nothing wrong with that. I do it all the time. I even have a toothbrush and toothpaste right here in case of emergencies. And that's actually no joke. It's just over
What
there.
kind of emergency do you need to like?
Well, you end up sleeping.
Immediately brush your teeth.
Well, you wake up in the morning. A caster is always going to brush your teeth, so
somebody
feels
breaks
very
in and you need to fashion a shiv real quickly.
It's like I'm breaking it. I only hijack. Like I'm only going to like kidnap people who have dirty teeth. That's right.
Oh no!
I am against gum disease. Oh. Yeah. Anyway, back into the game. Drafting time, and we'll have NaVi this time over on the Dire side, Sigma will be over on the Radiant side, and kicking up our draft again, we see the Bane being taken out. What a surprise! And then also Clockwork finding his way into the ban pool this time around. So NaVi could take the Live Stealer, and well, Wisp and ET, then the ban's out by Fader. So no one's ever going to let anybody have ET in ever again.
Nope. Nope, never again.
It's too dangerous, man. It's just too, like, it's like playing with fire while you're also farting. It's not a good idea.
Well done, Toby. But now the question is, what are Sigma going to be able to pick up after giving NaVi one of their most successful heroes, Lifestealer? They're going for the Mirana, no surprise there, and also the Venomancer, one of the top-notch supports in the pool nowadays. Did I mention, by the way?
I don't know. You haven't mentioned it yet, so I can't answer that question yet.
Venomancer, that level 4 Gale, stupid amount of damage. Like, it does like 540 damage at level 4. It's crazy.
Are you still going to class that as more powerful than Poison Sting being added to Plague Wards?
I mean, no, not necessarily, but it does sort of like, normally you look at it and I was like, oh yeah, definitely wards and Poison Sting, that's amazing. But at the same time, as I've kind of gauged the huge amount of damage coming out when you actually level up your Gale, I think it's kind of viable sometimes as a support if you see the opportunity to be able to go for a little bit more of an aggressive team fight build and going for that maxed out Gale early. But it just does an amazing amount of damage, and I think makes Venomancer that much more viable going into the mid to late game. So no surprise there, though. NaVi picks up Furion.
We get our basically our taxi driver for the night.
Yeah. See, that's why I wasn't sure if Clockwork was one of their most picked, because there's so many other off lanes that are consistently picked up as well, and then as well as like the dual lanes coming into play as well. You see a little less of those heroes, but I guess Furion banned out too much against them. Still, though, they get to this game, they're going to have a little bit of split push and a decent carry in Lifestealer. Maybe we'll see a little bit more Rat Toto.
Looking forward to seeing it, man. I'm one of these few people that actually got addicted to Rat Dota. Like, I'm kind of really happy to see like base races and mid to late game decisions about what is a good trade. For me, it's an interesting, like, just to see the way a team approaches it. Like, what's the choice do we take here? Like, is it going to be good to try and jump in there with a Wisp and Tiny and try and take a back racks, or do we try and bump up the profit when you know a Storm Spirit could be jumping at any time? Which, by the way, is someone which I'm going to flag right now for NaVi to be selected. Mainly to block up Sigma. They cannot really give that hero over to Fader unless you know you can outlane him. We did see Denny play a lot of Outworld Devourer during the weekend. It didn't really work out well when he played that hero. Like, in a way it did, because I remember one of the matches where he just like stormed into the Radiant base and just like screwed everybody over. But at the same time, it's a very passive style hero, and it's not the way Dendy or NaVi normally do play. So I'd like to see a little bit more of a aggressive mover coming out from NaVi to combine up with a Lifestealer, just more than a TP Prophet to combine up with an Infest Bomb.
Well, as it stands right now, Sigma picking up the Bounty Hunter, they still could do some sort of dual lanes. They can also have an aggressive tri-lane, but of course the immediate thing is defensive tri-lane with an off-lane Bounty Hunter. But NaVi, with the harder carry and Lifestealer as well as the Furion, Sigma want to get aggressive. Whether that's in the laning phase or very, very heavily in the mid-game, we'll have to see. But now picking up a Beastmaster, I love this hero. And man, we really don't see enough of Beastmaster. It looks like it's going to be in the mid. It's a really good counter to Lifestealer. I mean, he was classic pickup versus Lifestealer in Dota 1. We used to see him all the time when Lifestealer was in the pool. You would pick up Beastmaster because he's a great mid to be able to gank Lifestealer, shut him down all throughout the game. It doesn't matter what section of the game. He's always good against him. And he's also decent being able to add in a little extra push, some good ganking on some of the other heroes as well. Nature's Prophet has yet another hero he has to worry about when he goes for those split pushes. So if they can just ensure the Beastmaster actually gets decent farm and does well in mid, which one option in order to ensure that would be dual lanes. They could possibly put a support mid and something very harassive like a Venomancer. If NaVi runs some sort of really harassive range hero, they can easily put a support to ensure that Beastmaster gets well farmed in that mid lane.
Yeah. I suppose harassing range hero, you've already got one from the Crystal Maiden. Bring in an Enchantress, and then it won't really matter if you bring in extra support for the Beastmaster. You're going to be toast. And considering it's NaVi, I'm surprised that Enchantress and Chen both haven't been touched in the ban pool. So they're both available right now if Poppy wants to go down that lines. We did already see Kuro take up the role as the Crystal Maiden, so they may give her a crack. But at the same time, I'm wondering if Poppy wants something a little bit more... Actually, no, you still get your push orientation, you still get your ganking. I think you're going to tick most of your boxes as far as like the Enchantress or Chem pickup. Either way you look at it. With the Chem, you're going to be a little bit more careful about what the Bounty Hunter's going to do to you. But with the Crystal Maiden also in the neighborhood, if you stick together, you should have no problems in the early stages of the game because you'll probably find yourself in a better position to kill off a Bounty Hunter. And in fact, boom, Bob's your uncle. There's your Enchantress for NaVi. They know the power of it. They've been playing a very similar strat for a very, very long time, and they always leave it to the very, very last before they pick up Dendy's hero, because it makes it very difficult, especially when they can see Fader's hero before. Like, you might say Beastmaster going in that middle lane. It's possible even Miguel takes that towards the off lane, which means you're not 100% sure. You're not quite sure where all the lane's going to end up, so you wait to the very, very last one. There's that OD ban I was talking about before. So Fader will remove that and not run the risk of it. So we're going to see a different style of hero up on NaVi. And personally, I think it's actually a good game for a Pudge. And I'm saying that because you look at the lanes, and I'm liking what Pudge can do with the lanes. Even if you throw a Venomancer there, if it's just Pudge versus Beastmaster, they may just leave that and just be happy with that kind of trade-off and just say, just don't get hooked, Fader. And then look for a rotation to come in later and go into their own kind of farming. So pick up a Chen right now for Sigma, and we end up having our jungler versus jungler battle again.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, something that NaVi needs here is a hero that's going to be able to give them time, right? Time for both with the Enchantress, Furion, and the Lifestealer. They've ensured themselves late game. Pretty heavily. Like, unless Sigma picks up a really hard carry here, which I highly doubt, they've got the late game on NaVi, so they need some sort of hero to be able to mitigate some of these pushes coming out from Sigma, and being able to gank with the Pudge and get those repositionings with the Pudge hook, bring in some enemy hero and just pick them off and pretty much stop the push before it even gets to the tower, is a good way of being able to do that. That being said, I can also see it going the other way, where Sigma's aggression with their heroes, especially with the Bounty Hunter, that's a signal. They're looking for team fights, they're looking for ganks. I could easily see Pudge getting run over by that, and I think that's a better mid game hero that is a little bit more dependable. Night Stalker being picked up. Sigma, no surprise that they go for the support Abaddon, a classic hero to be run with Mirana, who's kind of a squishy carry, and in general just goes for mid game, which is what Sigma is. I think their sort of signature styles is going a lot heavily into mid game action, forcing team fights there.
Is it wrong to ignore logic so you can have a Pudge?
No, it's never wrong. It's never wrong to wish for a Pudge, Toby.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Because
You could say you're hooked on him.
I'm
Nobody's made that joke before.
I'm running away when he doesn't get picked. I always feel like my life has just been dismembered.
I was going to say that. I was like, do you wish somebody would dismember you? You stole that one from me, Toby.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'll just throw myself on the flesh heap now.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you feel kind of like useless? Do you feel like you just don't want to do anything when a Pudge isn't in the game, like a heap of flesh just sitting there? That one's a stretch. That one's reaching for it.
Yeah, that's like the 2-sentence long one where it's just like, I got this really funny joke that's got 4 different parts. Do you want to hear it? Answer normally, no thanks, I'm kind of good.
Don't ask. You don't ask. You just flick that on people.
I get this joke. A guy walked into a bar. It was funny.
NaVi, well, I didn't read that. NaVi are 15-3 when something Furion something.
I
got distracted by your guy walked into a bar joke. Even though I knew it wasn't an actual joke that was gonna follow, somehow it distracted me.
Remember those like a World of Warcraft jokes? Those what was it with like I can't even remember it. Oh no, yeah, the human mage, the human mage you could have. It's like, I got this idea for a movie. It'll be a 3-parter. The first part will be I can't remember what he did for that one. It was such good times, man. It was such good times.
Sorry.
The first part will be the Fellowship of the Bracelet. The second part will be a couple of towers, and the third part will be, hey, the king's back.
Oh dear. So 15-3 with Furion and Lifestealer.
Hey, thank you, Kat, for bringing this cast back.
No problem. Just rein it in. Rein it all back in.
Just give us some slack and reel it in. Give us some slack and reel it in.
All right, so
it's a cast and a mackerel.
The Night Stalker pick, right? NaVi have ensured themselves a good ganking hero that is going to be able to, again, mitigate some of the mid-game power of Sigma. They're looking at being able to pick off some heroes, not necessarily stand up against Sigma's team fight, like with an Abaddon and a Venomancer. On top of that, Track being a possibility to give you a huge advantage for Sigma. It's questionable whether or not they're really going to go for a lot of team fights here, but pickoffs are a big thing for NaVi. If they can just occasionally get some good pickoff here and there and slow Sigma down, they can push this game late enough that Furion, again, the Furion split push is going to come into play, and eventually Sigma, they're going to be 5-man pushing down a tower, but on the other side of the map, a tier 2, a tier 3 is being threatened. All they have to do is just push it long enough for Furion to start carrying with his split push, and then long enough for Lifestealer and Enchantress to start hitting really, really hard. So look for a lot of Lifestealer Night Stalker ganks fairly early on. Look for those kind of rotations to be able to push out, but when Sigma groups up as 5, NaVi is probably going to be doing a lot of split push.
30 seconds to battle.
The way to run the strat, man. The way to run the strat. I've got even more jokes coming through my mind, so my brain has moved. I'm really also interested to see if anybody understands, like the reference that I did for the last one. Like I know Pyrion was very, very impressed with me when I got his Blade Runner reference. Like which he did during the
I missed all of DreamHack. What reference?
Wow, really? Oh no.
I only caught like a couple of games because I was packing and stuff.
That's no excuse. What are you doing?
Flying to another country is not a good excuse. Thanks, Toby.
No. So yeah, I community doesn't forgive me when I'm like on a plane. I'm like, oh, did you not know? Did you not know that the entire Dota scene has changed all their rosters? No, sorry.
What was the Blade Runner reference before we get into this game?
Actually, I can't even remember it right now. All I remember is it was really, really good. So shout out to Pyrion Flax. The man that can actually get away with asking noob questions to explain for the noobs without looking like a noob. Oh,
it's because he's such a nice guy and he's hilarious. So people just give him.
He's a good bloke. He defended the honor of the ladies at the bar from Robert, the owner of DreamHack. Good times! Good times in Sweden.
Well done.
Technically, it was just an argument over the correct terminology.
All right.
Yeah, moving on to the lanes.
They put Mirana off lane with an Abaddon instead of in the farming role, and Bounty Hunter is in the safe lane with Venomancer mainly doing pulls. Interesting. Yes, Toby.
Well, I'm kind of wishing this was all solved by having a secondary range support hero, as opposed to an Abaddon right now. Like, Miguel is definitely a very good off-lane Mirana. He plays a lot. Like, a lot of Mirana, be it now in this current wall of Dota 2. And I love too Funnick and Miguel just staring down this one melee creep, which I've now just highlighted here. Hey, so someone had to finally attack it, had to make the move, because they realized that no one can get the last hit in that one properly, without the first person taking the first attack. Yeah, but Miguel's a really experienced off-lane Mirana player. Like, back in the days when Mirana always was off-lane. This leap from Mirana was like you always said, I need to have an escape mechanism for the off-lane. So I either had like my Timber Chain or I had my Magna Skewer, which was just so far in range. I had my leap from Mirana. I had all these different options. Like, it was good time. So Miguel was one of those guys that played it a hell of a lot.
Unfortunately, the problem is here he's going up. Like, I was expecting Mirana in the sort of the carry role, farming up bottom against NaVi, whether they did an aggressive tri-lane or put Fury on bottom. It was fine either way because Mirana is good versus Lifestealer in lane. Any ranged hero is going to do decent. Here up against Funnick, like, he's taking up so much harassment for every CS that he gets from Treants.
Might be in trouble. He's really slowed down here in the middle lane. He's got like 1 point up in Crippling Fear, but that's not enough. He's silenced up Fader, but the first blood's already been spilt by the Venom Man. So Kuro now on his way in. Puppy's here as well. So they got Enchant as well. There's your Frostbite. Fader's going to lose his life. At least there's some kind of revenge. And Puppy with his little sprites runs away from Mad. Turns for a little bit of extra harassment while Kuro stops taking damage from that creep wave as well.
Yeah, he could have turned on Kuro there. He really could have. Kuro was taking so much damage from the creeps, and he was getting a little bit body blocked. He easily could have chased down Kuro.
It's still only a level 1 Gale. Like, if that Gale had damage, yeah, turn, throw it, and then just leave.
Well, I was actually just talking about Poison Sting, just by itself.
Well, yeah, good point.
But still, again, playing it safe. They traded 1 for 1. They got first blood. That's perfectly fine for Sigma, especially since Night Stalker is a pretty decent mid versus Beastmaster. Many melees don't do well versus Beastmaster mid, but Night Stalker is one of the few that he has decent rune control. He has a spam out of Void. He usually picks up Bottle before Beastmaster as well, so he has that slight advantage. And on top of that, he's going to be that ganking hero that will match Beastmaster's ganking potential and will continually gank, whereas Beastmaster is completely reliant on his ultimate.
I want to point out this top lane right now, where Funnick is currently 14 for 12. He's got 12 denies. Now, I know a lot of these could be trees, Puppy, or, hang on, Galed up. He doesn't have mana for a heal. He's short by 10. The axe will fly. Puppy's dead. There's no way to stop this. He's just going to tick out, in fact. So, getting sniped off. But Funnick up on this top lane, he's really, really dominating. And this is kind of crazy considering, too, that, you know, Miguel's got options for getting last hits on these trees, but has just been zoned out a hell of a lot. There's no more consumables over on Funnick, so that's the one upside right now from Mirana, who's got an extra salve up here. So when Mad comes in and does this, Gale, TP, point blank range arrow, Starfall, the trees!
Nice.
Look at him move those trees, man. Even when Miguel tried to reposition, the trees moved with him. Then down towards the bottom lane, pass on very, very low life. Looks like Sentry Ward tried to initiate in on him, on Paris, sorry. Not Pass. Damn, that's really annoying. It's Paris and Pass on the bottom lane, the two pa.
You know, again, this goes back to what I expected was a defensive tri-lane with lots of pulling and Bounty Hunter versus the Furion. He would get really good levels. He'd obviously get full experience, so you're talking about early level 6, which is important for Bounty Hunters. And he also would be able to deal with that harassment a lot better. If he's allowed to pick up a poor man's shield in the beginning and fed tangos, he can very easily stand up against that because he has the ability to just spam out Shadow Walk. He doesn't take a whole lot of harassment.
Oh, Bounty, trouble. Frostbitten up. They need to keep vision on him, though, and they're going to pop the dust. And that's why the Prof volley was bouncing through. If that dust didn't trigger when it did, they wouldn't have had the vision to get the kill. And Miguel. I don't blame him. Like, I could just see these trees just coming in. They just basically have "feed me" written on like a little sign around their necks.
Dandy, oh, going deeper. Well done.
At least Centaur comes gets a perfect stun over on Matt. He took some decent damage with the creep wave then too. But this early nighttime cycle is so difficult to try and gank up on the Night Stalker. But now also means NS is 33 for 6. He is most definitely ahead in CS. And he's almost got enough money to finish up the full earn as well. So for second night time, he's going to be looking great. But for now, we're at the 6-minute mark, which is the perfect time to start rotating around and trying to actually find a gank and a kill, at least one or maybe possibly two before the end of this night time.
Yeah, look for possibly if he hasn't picked it up yet, so it's very, very unlikely. It looks like he's just going to really focus on the second nighttime. Normally, if you're going to go for any sort of rotation in the first nighttime, again, it's not as good as the old nighttime cycle. You really need to have those levels, so a lot of Night Stalkers will completely ignore the first nighttime. Maybe only go for 1 or 2 ganks, and if you do go for 1 or 2 ganks, you're going to get darkness at level 6. You're going to extend that nighttime to 8 minutes and 30 seconds, where you have just really hit your full potential as a Night Stalker with your full nuke. But here it looks like Dendi is probably not going to be making any rotations. Unless he gets a really good rune, he's just going to focus on that second nighttime.
Yeah, and yeah, even that, like, what's he really going to get for that rune? Poppy.
He sees the opportunity top.
Yeah, there's Miguel. Leaves himself away, already with 1 slow, but then, well, you knew that stun was coming in from Dendi, or at least we knew it. Miguel, unfortunately, did not realize that. Throws out his ultimate, but couldn't get inside the invis fast enough. But that means there is at least a chance for Bounty Hunter to initiate into a Vorst. But how's a Vorst doing? Like, a Vorst going to go Bracer?
He's doing perfect. You look at his CS, he's 40-5 right now. Like, the Bounty Hunter hasn't shut him down at all, and neither has the Potom shut down Furion at all. So none of these lanes have gone well for Sigma. Every single lane, Navi has won. I mean, you look at the CS board, the top 3 are all Navi.
Yep. And Beastmaster's, like, he's keeping up. He can at least get himself a buckler, and he's close to buying up the, well, he can buy up the headdress right now, but he won't have enough money to buy up the full mech yet. But he is on the way to that, which means Sigma, when it comes to that second nighttime cycle, like, let's not talk about their timing. So now we're going to have like a mech coming up for the Beastmaster. That's going to come in at a pretty decent time. Marana, okay, what are we getting from her? We got phase boots. There is nothing on the courier for him. So sitting at 27 for 5 with 1 death hasn't really helped him at all. But we got phase boots and what I assume is just going to be a wand and maybe a ring of Aquila if he's lucky. Bounty Hunter has level 6, so we've got to remember the bonus gold you can pick up from all of that. But he's moving around with phase boots, poor man shield, so the world is his oyster, but more than likely drums can be coming his way. And then you've got a Venomancer, who still wants to finish up a ward, and probably won't get much more beyond that, just because he has to buy up so many, like he's going to finish up his wand, but he needs to buy up wards. And Abaddon's in kind of like the similar position, but he needs to wait and afford up some arcane boots, just because of the mana intensity, like the amount of cost of mana to pop out his abilities during a fight. He just needs more than anybody else.
You know, I feel like a broken record, Toby, but I'm going to have to say it again. This is another situation where Sigma is relying, I feel, too heavily on the early game, and they've lost it. They've lost the early game, and they're going to have to come back hard in this 15 to 25-minute marks and put some serious pressure on Navi and win some good team fights. Otherwise, their heroes are going to drop off pretty dramatically compared to Navi's heroes. They're all of Navi is only going to get stronger in the late game. Even Crystal Maiden is decent with that freezing field, being able to do a lot of damage. So it's, I don't know, Sigma is going to have to make some really good smoke ganks happen, some good team fights, because right now things are not looking good. I mean, just the laning phase by itself has already put Navi 3,500 gold ahead.
Yeah.
And that's without a single, well, Dendi had that 1 TP rotation atop, but other than that, we haven't seen the Night Stalker come into play. Again, the second nighttime is going to be his, basically he's going to turn the map into his playground.
Yep.
And we haven't even seen that happen yet, so things are looking kind of dicey from Sigma already.
So fast. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Sigma was so waiting for this gank on the bottom lane. The second that Danny popped off that ultimate and created the premature nighttime, he was so ready just to destroy everything they could possibly find. While moving up towards the top lane, Soshka, he's on the hunt. There's dire observer wards already keeping tabs out, but obviously when you got an invis hero like this, it's very, very difficult to catch somebody out of position.
Yeah, but look at Funnick. He knows exactly, like, he knows Bounty Hunter is not farming anywhere. He can't kill Lifestealer. It's unlikely they're going to be able to kill Dendi. So the only real big option for this Bounty Hunter is to go gank Funnick.
Well, TP's coming in, and they've managed to find the Bounty Hunter.
Well played.
Yeah, nice and easy pick off. We got a crackle on the mic cap, so you might want to just readjust your pack a little. Hopefully, no, the pack, the thing at the bottom.
Top tower is
This
under
thing.
attack.
This thing.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, wonderful. No sound issues like on the weekend, but still. Should be some nice times. There's the Beastmaster mech, and we're also got a quick smoke for both Fader as well as Mad. They're going to be running in towards that middle lane. And looking over towards Dandy. But then again, are they? No, they're going to move up towards the top. They're coming in for Funnick, and they're coming in hot, but this is going to be a dangerous thing to try and achieve because now, yeah, okay, Puppey roars on him. The Centaur's going to come back and look for the Stomp. Fader
nice
able to
dodge.
move up and actually dodge it. And with the DD runes, got more than enough damage, but then again, maybe he doesn't. Because that heal coming up from Fader, Puppey turns and needs one more attack, and there it is with the Dire Sentry with their perfect vision. Wow. And Beastmaster as well as Venno find themselves in one big, bad situation up against NaVi.
You know, I was going to question whether or not they were really going to be able to kill the Enchantress because Venomancer just doesn't do anything against the Enchantress. He does 0 damage. He'll completely outlast the Venom. So I was going to question whether or not they were really going to be able to pick that up. That dodge from the Centaur stun, though, was really beautiful. Unfortunately, it just still wasn't enough. And even if they did, again, if they picked up the Enchantress, still wouldn't have mattered. They still would have traded 2 for 1. So, in general, this is just... it's the right thing, smoking up and trying to get those ganks off. Unfortunately, NaVi is responding really, really well to them. They know what Sigma needs to do in order to come back into this game, and they're addressing the issue. Yeah.
And that issue, after it's being addressed, puts NaVi ahead by about 7,000 gold and almost about 5,000 experience as well. And of course, he's taken a large portion of that, sitting at almost level 9 the bottom lane and having his full armlet now arrive for him on the courier on the bottom lane.
A gold lead like that doubling in like 2 minutes time. Yeah.
It's not something you really want to see. Kuro, he's getting a lot of space in that middle lane too. He just cracked his level 8. While Man's just trying to hunt down Hellbears. It's the only thing he feels he can possibly kill right now while Pass is on the hunt. And what did they call for his items before? Sitting about 4 minutes ago was like face boots as well as Poor Man Shield. Now he's walking around with exactly the same thing. Bottom tower gets destroyed, so Funnick came down to help him out. Funnick's also got a hell of a lot of money. 2.7k gold up on that Nature's Prophet, and we're only 13 minutes in. Obviously, Hanamias definitely helps out with that, not to mention his ultimate. But life is not easy. Soshka comes in towards the middle lane, but Navi's going to back up with the fortification going.
Oh, they caught him again mid. They caught Paris. These supports, Navi supports are just on top of this. You notice there's no counter ward? That was just a blind dust.
That was
just a blind dust.
I feel someone's coming in for a stop. They do see the TP coming in from the Beastmaster, so Denny got to be careful. The ward over on the side of Fader. He's instantly silenced up, and that's what Denny was waiting for. Fader, they're going to summon before he gets his raw press over on Denny, but it's already too late. With a Vorce in the middle of this fight, he's already dishing out a huge amount of damage. Funnick's going to die back in range of the tier 1 tower. And that Plague Ward looks like it managed to block out a Vorce. And Dendy, he's a little bit too close in towards Pass right now. Again, no level up in Curse on any of these Abaddons. And then with the open wounds, a lot of slow. But Denny's able to get lifesteal out from this one, which is great for him. Copying a Gale to the face, not a great thing. And now Paris, well, there's a Shuri toss. They'll cancel Denny's TP out. And with the Nightmare, there's no way to hide inside the Fog of War either. So Navi will bail back out again. But the mid-tier 1 tower goes down. So there's now 2 tier 1 towers in the space of 14 minutes going the way of Navi, and a full Shadow Blade bought up from Nature's Prophet with his cash.
Yeah, this is bad. This is a problem with one of these drafts, is if you don't perform well in the early game, it's very, very obvious what you're going to do on Sigma's side. It's very, very obvious. There's so much pressure on them in order to gank, because Mirana is not a hard enough carry that you can just sit back. So it's very obvious at that 8 to 10 minute mark, you're going to see heavy, heavy rotations. And Navi played it perfectly. They played really, really passive, and when the rotations did occur, they counter-ganked. They counter-ganked beautifully and actually came out on top in all of these skirmishes. So 4 to 9, 15 minutes in, at the very least, Sigma is able to secure another tier 1 tower of their own. But again, it's just not enough. It's not enough gold to put Mirana in the driver's seat to this game. It's the big problem I feel with Mirana carries is you have a lot of pressure, and unless you do really, really well in your mid, there's so much pressure on Mirana to be able to out-farm.
Yeah, Mirana's not one of these like carry heroes that could do it by herself. They need Nightmare. They need something else like that. Also, I like the fact that Denny has now picked this up. Obviously, going up against so many melee heroes, obviously not including Mirana, Vanguard is a really great choice, especially after rework. Bruno was explaining this one to me over the weekend, and I don't remember the numbers for it. But presumably, I say presumably, it's from Bruno, so it's guaranteed. Ice Frog, say the word. Oh, Funnick. Soshka's still here. They have dust on these guys? No, they don't. But now Infest. Yeah, that just got pinged up. Everyone's going to be so much more cautious right now. Unless they jump in there, funny. Just TP back to base. Get your ass out of there.
Like, you just pokes them. Just to annoy him.
They're coming in for Roshan. They're coming in to do... Wait, are they? Wait, what? Make up your mind, Funnick. Make up your mind. Yeah, but anyway, Vanguard. Originally, though, when it got changed, it didn't block as much damage as expected. And now it actually blocks the correct amount. So there was actually a bug with the Vanguard. And they managed to work it out and get it fixed. So now Vanguard is actually a lot more powerful than what it used to be.
Yeah, and it's a great item for Night Stalker. He's a hero that usually his mana pool is good enough on its own that really all you need is just enough survivability and damage to be able to dive some of these tier 1 towers. It really makes it so he's just impossible when it comes to ganking some of these side lanes and diving tier 1s.
Funnick, arrow connects on him from Miguel. The Starfall will kill him, and he's going to go down. The Aegis, he actually picked up the Aegis Immortal and killed off Roshan. So Sigma got both out of that one, plus the kill over on the Nature's Prophet. And of course, he's got nothing to invest into. Roared up, they're going to lose him. They lost Roshan and they lost 2 cores, and they're about to lose Koro. Arrow will connect just as he popped off the TP scroll as well. So Mirana, not only do they take out Roshan, they get the gold from that, but they take 3 hero kills against NaVi. Critical moment and flashback to game number 2.
A huge moment. And now they're going to be able to take a tier 1, possibly even go for a tier 2. I mean, you really shouldn't let up once you're able to successfully turn the game around like that. They can easily go for a tier 2. They've got great heroes for it. Beastmaster with his aura gives a little bit of pushing power, but mainly it's the sustainability of Abaddon, in my mind, that allows them to be able to go for a tier 2 here. Yep. But at the same time, again, Furion, Funnick split push is coming.
You knew it was going to come at some point, man. Even if you think you have all the towers up and running, it's all down. It's not enough to instantly just say you have a win. But at the same time, this power that comes out from Sigma, like their attack power is great. Like, you got the stability that's coming out from Abaddon, but you've also got Fader, who, as he's getting more and more leveled up, like we got a level 2 Roar up in him right now, but the more points up in the Inner Beast, the more powerful Miguel's getting, and you see that he wants to bring down buildings. It's a Desolator buy-up is what Miguel is focusing on. Drums also arrive for the Bounty Hunter. Smitty attempted denial, and not attempted, actually successful there by Denny, but the Roar goes on Lavorce. He's already popped the Rage, there's no extra damage from this, and Paz, well, Lavorce going to try and find this one. He's got to use Infest, use the ball, use something right there. There's an Alpha Wolf right next to you. Now he jumps out. Paz managed to take up most of the ult and gone straight back into full life, but Denny, as well as the rest of NaVi, they want to run themselves in Lavorce. Armlet toggle time. He couldn't do it. Not the right time. He took the extra damage, and the Lifesteal actually ended up being killed off by the creep wave of all things.
Wow.
But 2 heroes down for NaVi again, with Nature's Prophet dying in the lane. And all the rest of Sigma are going to TP out. They already took the tower, now they got to protect their own.
That was, again, another amazing moment for Sigma. They walked away from that team fight 2 for 1, picking out the Lifestealer and the Furion, the 2 heroes you worry most about in this section of the game. That's amazing. Like, Sigma has made such a huge comeback now. They're about to make the gold lead even if they're able to farm up effectively during these few seconds while Lifestealer and them are down.
I think they've gone far enough, man, that you can give them props. Repairing a 7,500 gold and experience deficit, yeah.
Very few teams can pull that off, but Sigma able to do it, and this heavy direct damage coming out from Mirana. I think it's one of the few builds that really kind of offsets Mirana's lack of damage. Being able to pick up an early Desolator, it's risky.
But she didn't even have that during the fight just then.
No, I know.
It still went that way.
Yeah. So now being able to have it, though, you're actually being able to maybe burst down the Lifestealer. When they originally went on the Lifestealer, I was like, there's no way this fight's going to go well, because they can't kill Havos. He's got Infest up. Even if he does get low, he's just going to Infest and pop right back out.
Yeah.
So that fight shouldn't have gone well, but Sigma's still able to pull it out. It's amazing. And now that direct damage, they can take down tier 2s. They can take down some of these tanky heroes because of it. It's a risky maneuver, but Sigma, I think it's their biggest option here. Their biggest. It's going to be risky, but maybe they can pull it out with that damage.
Oh, about to find out, man. Right now, Matt is trying to make it so NaVi go blind on the map, and it's working perfectly. He's already raged up, but because he used his rage, it means he won't be able to survive this. He buys up his Sanjay recipe and accepts his own death, but tracks galore. The top lane is pushing in with Nature's Prophet and Puppy here for a bit of a Satyr Blast to help it just go a little bit faster. But then whirling axes, wild axes, the other W axe, easily able to clean up most of this creep wave. The tower's not even going to take maximum damage, and Denny in the middle lane, sniped out. He gets a Void, there's a Prophet ulti, now he pops the ulti off himself, tries to run away, and this is a waste of nighttime and Funnick. It's a very good thing there's no gem carrier here. The Venomancer is a little bit further away down the bottom lane. I think the rest of NaVi want to try and fight this. Funnick stuck around with the Shadow Blade, and now he starts attacking over on Miguel. Has to back up a little bit more. There goes your Impetus coming out from Puppey. They'll pop off the dust as well, but Kuro, they've got to survive through pass. He has to Frostbite, but in comes Paris. Stochka in from the rear. He's already got one track kill. He's got to wait 5 more seconds before he get another one down, while Funnick beating down on top of pass. He'll pop his own dust, so Funnick can't disappear from this. But with a Vorst in the lane as well, they got Mad back. The Gale, it's just a little bit too short. And the Vorst rages away.
Yeah, small turnaround being able to pick off the Mirana like that. That was good execution by NaVi. Sigma were looking so good. I really didn't think they were going to be able to turn this around, but then being able to pick up the Night Stalker as well, looking at their tower advantage, like they've taken all the tier 1s, have actually taken a tier 2 of their own, while NaVi, they've only taken 2 tier 1s, so they have this huge, this tower gold lead, right? It's the only reason that the gold lead is close at all is because NaVi hasn't been able to pick up these tier 2s. If they can pick off the Furion, they can easily group up, go for another tier 2, and next thing you know, the gold lead's going to be even. They're going to go for another tier 2. They can have a slight lead, and at that point in time, take control of the map, pick up Roshan, and go all in on the base. Sigma has a very good chance to be able to win this game. And they really weren't in it 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, you're right, man. Sigma's moving absolutely perfectly. The only thing is executing this basically the most crucial team fight, which is now. If they can win this team fight, they get themselves so far ahead that I don't think NaVi can come back from that kind of level. Miguel's just beating down this tower. The negative armor from the Desolator is really making this a lot easier. Not to mention the Necro units which are on the field. But they're all going to back themselves up for now. Remember, 2 Puppies able to enchant those little suckers.
Yeah, stop the Furion split push, and at the same time, use that momentum to go for a tier 2. Funnick isn't in position to threaten a tower of his own. You look at this bottom lane, it's beginning to push in, but not in time to really threaten that tier 2 bottom. There's no way he's going to be able to make a trade happen. As Sigma immediately rotates to top, and it looks like they're going to do just that. Sigma, they're making all the right moves here, and NaVi is just not making the pickoffs that they really need to stay ahead.
Yep. It's about to get a lot tougher for him. Fader now with a level 2 Necro book up now and up and running. And this is still only like 23 minutes in for someone who didn't go ahead. Wait, hold the phone. No, we still have 2 from NaVi. Both Puppey as well as they just Prophet of a Handamitis. But it's not as bad as the infection that was Alliance the other night.
Oh no. Paris gets caught out in middle.
Easy Impetus. They're going to keep him in vision still, which they did manage to do.
That's probably going to kill their tier 2 push. I was about to say, they just all grouped up, go to top. They could have taken that tier 2, but now they have to back off without the bounty hunter. It's too risky to take a fight. So instead, they're just going to defend bottom. Farm up. So a really unfortunate pick off there.
Yeah. I didn't really want to have that momentum killed either, because you see what's happening with NaVi. You've already got Funnick inside the Radiant jungle, and he's been farming this up to a point where he's managed to finish up a full Orchid. And then you got Denny running around with 1,900 gold, an Ogre Club, so you know BKB is high on his priority list, and that's only 1,000 gold away from having it. So he's feeling good about that. Arrow will fly and scout out the fact that Denny's in the jungle, but they can't go out there to contest him, because you've got Puppey in the neighborhood as well, which is not making this any easier for him. And they're probably going to look towards that tier 2 tower in the bottom lane. And fighting outside their base, I don't know if Sigma really want to do that unless they're the ones which are setting the battlefield. And fighting on top of their tier 2 tower may seem like they're setting their battlefield, but when you have to go on this bottom lane and you have to go up the high ground to reach NaVi, if they position a couple of heroes just a little bit up here and the creep wave comes in range of the tower, then NaVi can actually move their aggressive line basically to this box right here, which keeps Sigma on the low ground, which means they're at a disadvantage. Their one advantage, though, is catching out Puppey, but he's got 4 stars, so he's pretty fast away.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're just delaying. Navi's doing a good job of delaying, drawing attention from Sigma elsewhere. I think if Sigma wins Roshan coming up, it's coming up fairly soon, 2 minutes time. if they can just take tier 2 and angle for that Rosh, try and get some sort of pick off maybe in the in-between time of tier 2 and Roshan with a smoke or something like that. If they can get that pick off, they've got a great chance to win this game. However, it's only going to take one team fight for NaVi to regain the ground that they lost and put Sigma right into the position they were 10 minutes ago. It's really not going to take much. And in the team fight, can very easily be won with how squishy Mirana is. I mean, she's going straight for pure damage, which is, again, a risky build that could pay off, but it can also go the other way so heavily if NaVi is the ones initiating.
And they can be pretty shortly. You see Denny's next item, like, yeah, I was wrong with the BKB.
Oh, wow.
It's actually going to be an Aghanim Scepter. So with an Aghanim Scepter as well as a gem, it's going to be almost impossible for Sigma to surprise NaVi. And that's probably like the worst possible thing you can have. It's a legal area of effect map pack. Mad, well, are they going to use Enchant for this one? Mad's just TPing out. I think Kuro realized he wasn't going to get there in time either. So he just started turning himself back as well. But with that 9-stock, with everything else he's got up, like, it's just going to be a very obvious 5-man versus 5-man fight. Which is exactly what NaVi want. Because they know they'll never take it. Like, 5-man fight, you could have forced that from Sigma. NaVi just split push. Scythe device already coming up from Funnick with the amount of money he's pulled off from the side lanes. So it won't be long before that tier 1 tower does go down. Miguel and Pass can't remain this far up. And now, Orchided, Funnick's just going to back himself up a little bit more. It's just giving Miguel something to think about up on this top lane. Realizing he won't die, but just want to make sure. No leaps, nothing like that. And the rest of NaVi are now coming in. Denny leads the charge in, and Miguel already silenced up, but he's able to leap himself away, and now Avorst, look at that damage onto him! Wonderful play by Sigma. They just bring everybody in. And look at that 4 points of Inner Beast going to work on everybody. Funnick dies as well. The trike was fast enough coming up from the Bounty Hunter. And now you'll get one over on Koro. And look at that movement speed just move up. 456. They use the Invis as well. There's 4 stars being used by Puppey. And he leaves his teammate to die. And as Miguel takes a double kill, that Alpha Wolf, lol, tanks up the arrow, which I'm pretty sure was meant for Enchantress. Sitting up on the cliff.
You know, I scrolled my screen past that cliff too quickly to see the Alpha Wolf, and I was like, where'd the arrow go? Where'd it go? And there's a dead Alpha Wolf on the cliff. No, but that was a great team fight for Sigma, and this is exactly why the straight damage build is really, really good. You saw the damage coming out on that Lifestealer. They were able to pop him with the Beastmaster ultimate before he can get up and try and get an Infest off. And on top of that, you've got an Aban being able to protect Mirana when they do try and initiate on her. That's Pass's only job, is just to keep the Mirana alive. Honestly, he probably shouldn't even consider shielding anybody else but Miguel.
Top tier 3 towers now going down. Prophet's up in 3 seconds time, so they'll have his ulti then, which is why you see NaVi already looking to initiate. Kuro, however, getting stunned up by a 5-second arrow. Doesn't make life any easier. And Sigma, they're up and close. Prophet ulti is gone, bounces through them all, but not enough damage. Miguel does drop down low. That's not enough to kill him off. And they're still going to get rid of these Necro units. Miguel's coming back in closer, roars over on a force, again with a rage. He needs to have time to infest, and now he's up. He never got the infest off. Those infestors, they just keep flying into the Bounty Hunter, which NaVi will now get the kill on, while Crystal Maiden gets destroyed out by Sigma, who just keep fighting. But Denny, he's going to drop. Vader is just way too strong right now, beating him through. The dust has popped. The ward's inside, so they can see Funnick TPing out, but it doesn't even matter. Or does it? Mad, he's trying to make his way back through the creep wave, which he will be able to maybe do so. Puppey, he's got a couple more impetus up his sleeve. Kuro running out way too far. He really tried to go in for that one, and Puppey just said, sorry, Kuro, I'm not interested at all, which means Sigma can easily turn around and just take that Crystal Maiden out.
You know, it's funny, that was so close to Sigma completely, like, destroying NaVi and ending the game right now. If Paz had been able to heal, he was mid-animation. If he'd been able to heal Mirana right before he'd gone down in this man fight, they would have kept Mirana alive successfully. That would have been the melee racks down. And another thing, Funnick barely got out. Paz actually walked away from that team fight because Funnick sprouted himself. He lost vision, but Venomancer a second later threw a ward inside. If Paz had stuck around and actually thrown down the Mistcoil on him, Funnick would have died, and then they would have completely just trounced NaVi. If both of those things had happened, Sigma would have ended the game right there. They would have been up enough, Abaddon being able to give them enough sustainability to go for the tier 3 in middle or back up and take Roshan. And they'd be at such a huge advantage that I don't think NaVi would be able to come back from that. That being said, there's still a chance for NaVi to win this because that didn't happen.
Arrow, the tree's going to tank it up for him, and Roshan's already dead. So Aegis Immortal goes into the hands of Avorst. And Prophet's just TPing out as quickly as possible. And Sigma, they're a little bit too late to the party. All the nibbles have already been eaten. And Venomance now with a level, got double 3 Necro books. Like, that's really, like, for me, that would be the scariest thing if I was going up against a Sigma lineup. Well, right now, maybe a little bit more scary is the fact that Fader is now building in to an Aghanim Scepter. And once he sells one of these things he's got in his inventory, he's got it.
And you've got one of the most powerful auras with Necrobook minions as well. The attack speed aura coming out from Beastmaster is extremely good because not only is it just good extra damage coming out from the Necro minions when you're fighting up against a tower, but against these enemy heroes, their mana, they take so much extra damage from the melee creep because of the extra attack speed coming out from those minions. They can very easily just siege towers, and when Navi tries to push up against them, pop those Necrobook minions, and they'll pretty easily win the team fight, I feel. But Aegis is still a big factor here in this Navi.
That is true, man. While they have that, the chance of surviving and just living to fight again, because Avorst has died so quickly. Like, both the last fights, Sigma is focused on Avorst as the primary hero to bring down. This time around, it won't be anywhere near as effective. So up they come towards the high ground. They're still only taking one range Rax, is the only Rax they've managed to pick off so far. But they're looking for more. Now the Impetus start to fly, and Miguel able to leave himself away. The Roar goes out in Denny, and they're going to turn on the Night Stalker this time around, which means Avorst in the middle of the fight. He's doing minimal damage. Like, he's trying to attack up over onto Sorska, but it's next to no damage. Sigma is the guys who are controlling this fight right now. Sprout or not, Funnick is perfectly seen. He'll go down. Denny is brought back to be part of this fight, and now also Prophet. Bakuro, Puppy, just jumps up, The Miguel leaps up to kill off Puppy, and they're going in deeper. This is GG. Yeah, Navi have lost their entire Rags, and Puppy admits it. The GG call comes out, and would you believe we're going to a 5th and final deciding matchup between Sigma and Navi. Winner faces up against Speed Gaming in the semi-final.
Unbelievable, especially that last team fight. Really smart play there from Sigma. They recognize the fact that Aegis up on Lifestealer. He went race car build, right? He's not dealing that much damage anyway. Ignore him. He's got Aegis anyway. Completely ignore him. Pop the Night Stalker instead. Really smart targeting there from Sigma. Allowed them to be able to finish off the game against NaVi. Extremely well done. My hat is off to Sigma. I really didn't think they were going to be able to stand up against NaVi as well as they have been.
Yeah, and it's looking good. It's looking good right now if you're a Sigma fan, and looking good if you're a Dota fan, because it means there's more Dota coming up in just a couple of moments' time. So stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly.